I want to start with a story. I had a student who had a very challenging relationship with her mother. I won't go into too many details, but her mother, it's kind of, from how she was talking about it, I felt like, I'm not a psychologist, psychiatrist, or whatever, but I thought there must be some kind of mental health issues with her mom. I'm not sure about dysfunction and whatever, but her mother failed to connect. So her mother was never really a mother for her, wasn't really there for her. She couldn't depend on her mother. She couldn't get recipes from her mother. I mean, her mother, was like just a lot of dysfunction there. And I found when people come out, people come and they tell me stories and blah, blah, blah. I find when people go through a lot of dysfunction or a lot of trauma or a lot of difficulty in their life, they can either go that way or they can be like the most extraordinary people you ever met. So this one was in the latter category. She really, she made, what's that thing, Phoenix from the ashes, like there was like nothing there. And here was this extraordinary woman who was doing the best she could with a challenging history to have an incredible family life, an incredible marriage. So she knew, because she was like this with her mom, she wanted to go bang with her husband. She wanted to totally get somebody who totally got her, totally connected with her, could communicate on a dime, that she could talk to till 3 a.m. and was like totally connected with her. Okay. And she did not stop dating until she found that guy. She didn't even care what his job was, if he was ugly, what kind of car he drove, whatever typical things that people go after, his character, he was, all she cared about was that he was good at connecting, because she wanted something deeper for herself and for her family, for her children. Fine. Fast forward to, I think, about 14 years. I'm making that up, she told me, but I'm trying to disguise who she is. Whatever. And she lives on Mars anyway, so you wouldn't know her. But anyway, so she fast forward, she's married, and she just feels, she says to me, Leah, I've got really a great life, and I really do connect-ish with my husband, but there are so many things. I feel like I'm the only one working on the marriage. I feel like it's totally this one-way street. Like I'm the one who's like, what you said yesterday hurt my feelings, and I really wish you'd be, on top of it and care more and whatever. And she said, I just feel like I'm just beating a dead horse, because I keep telling him how much I want to connect with him, how much I want him to understand me, to relate to what I'm saying. And she said, I'll, for instance, I took this whole series on forgiveness or something. I don't know, this class, whatever, it was fantastic, great. She said, I took this whole thing and I was forgiving him for everything he ever did for me. And I was going through this whole process, and I was working on it for 6 weeks, for the 6-week class. He didn't forgive me for one thing. He didn't even acknowledge there were things that he was bearing grudges on. And I tried to dig a little bit and he couldn't dig. Fine. Let me see if there was other problems that I'm forgetting. Let's see. Oh yeah. So he also, he's not really, when she gets upset about something, he'll totally ignore her. Like she'll be like, whatever. And she can't, sometimes you get so upset, like, you're at a high enough level that you don't blast the guy, or maybe some of you are, not you, but no, but whatever, so you're not going to blast the guy. So you just go on silence. You just go on silence mode, like you turn the airplane mode off and you just like, whatever. So, that's how she would be. He wouldn't say like, what's wrong? Is something bothering you? He's just like, this is her problem. She feels like she had time already served with her mother, and now she finally found the communicator, and this is what she's living with. So I have a question for you. Is it possible, I want your answer to this, is it possible to improve your marriage when only the wife is working on the marriage? Now, some of you in my class for a couple of years, so you know the answer already. So don't answer if you, whatever. Let's give other people a chance for a second.
No, it's not fair. Like, why is it up to the woman? Like, the husband has to also be involved. It's impossible that a marriage can be improved with, like, just the wife doing her part. I'm like, but you don't understand. When the wife does her part and works on her marriage, the husband automatically will change and want to, make her happy and want to work on the marriage himself. It doesn't have to be like, okay, you have to work on this, and you do X, Y, Z wrong, so you need to change that. And so I think it is, I totally, agree with you that I think that a wife, can so, herself can, work on their marriage and improve it, because I think the husband automatically, will reciprocate and will be so happy when the wife's doing all these amazing things. So but I know that there are people, a few of my friends who are holding against it, and they're like, no, it's not like that. So it's okay, I can give you some books to read, and then maybe you'll change your mind.
Okay. So
yeah, the Marriage Secrets book by Leah Richeimer that they can get on Amazon. Yes.
So you did answer correctly, and it is I don't know, we put about 1,000 people through the Marriage Secrets programs, and if you pulled any one of them aside in the market and said, hey, you worked on your marriage, how did it work? And they're like, hello, it's like my husband completely transformed, and it was only me changing. So, and there's a precedence for this in our tradition, that if you work on yourself, it will work. It'll work. What were you going to say, something?
No, just for people who are so skeptical about that concept, because sometimes when you're in a relationship, you really feel like, it's the other person's fault and there's no way, you don't know my husband, But if marriage, obviously it's its own breed of relationship, but really it's just a relationship like relationships. Think about it with anybody. Any relationship with human beings, people are just reactive to other people. And if someone sits down to you and they're put you on the defensive, you're on the defensive, that's the way the relationship's going to go. If someone comes across and you meet them for the time, they're super sweet and nice, then you're going to react to them also. So everything's just a reaction to other people. If you change your whole, way you're confronting a relationship, then that's going to be
not necessarily going to be changed. So it kind of goes without saying. It's fantastic. Question for you. How are men and women different in how they manage relationships? How do men and women manage the marriage differently? Because my student was very upset by how she was the one who was always doing the work.
So I don't know across the board. I can just know from thinking about myself and things we've discussed. I feel like communication is really such an important thing, as we discussed so many times. And really, I feel like maybe it's just because that's a strength that I feel I have, but I think women in general are more communicative, sharing, able to get that road going well and keep it, So I think that is a very important tool for a woman. There's always going to be differences and misunderstandings. It's just factual. That's just it. There's going to be things like that. So communicating it and working through it and learning and growing and all of that being in the woman's.
It's fantastic. And here's what I want you to know. This is the memorizable part of the show. Okay. The real superwoman is the woman who takes it to heart that she's the manager of the relationship, that's her unique, treasured strength that has been thrown into the gutter. We have been told men need to be more sensitive. They need to talk it out. They need to, have this schmooze. They need to, be soft and gentle and whatever. That's our job. And we're uniquely qualified to do that. Now, everybody's different. You'll have men who are more sensitive. You'll have women who are more the men's side and the women's side, whatever, however that goes. And so I'm being very generalized in this topic, but we know from our sources that we are born an Ezer Kenegdo, a helpmate opposite, okay? And that means our whole way of being as that helpmate is to be Sarah. Got this with this intuition, this, I have my mother and father-in-law, my father-in-law was going to a hairdresser for, 25 years or something like that, same hair, with less hair and less hair. But anyway, so my mother-in-law, he would just, it was up the block or, it was a few blocks away, whatever. So he would just go and come back. Fine. One time they were on their way with someone else. So he said, just come and you'll sit. After 25 years, my father-in-law finally found out that this guy had a wife 4 children, a dog, she knew where he went, where he was from Romania. He had, whatever could possibly be known about this guy in 10 minutes of a 10-minute haircut. Nothing. My father-in-law knew nothing of this. Nothing. Yeah. It's just, we're relationship beings. That's who we are. And rather than saying we're equal to men, maybe we're better. No, I didn't say that. Wait, delete that. But who knows? But I'm just saying we are relationship beings. And rather than thinking of that as a negative, that is our ace in the hole. Particularly given that connecting with other human beings is part of the most important reason we were put on this planet in the first place. So we actually have a distinct advantage to be able to connect and feel somebody and touch somebody's heart and bond with somebody. And when women complain, myself included, and every other woman, why am I always the one to do the work? Maybe we should ask it, why am I the one who has the ability and the magic skills to connect with another human being? Why were we given a disproportionate amount of brain power for connecting with other people? We are so lucky and we are so blessed. And this has been told to us like it's something, they're crying and they see a commercial, they cry, they see a picture of a puppy and a thing and whatever. Oh, look at that, so cute, right? Okay. This is our gift. So what we're going to be building on here, what we're starting to do now, is to take the buried treasure that's inside of us, to mine it, and to hold it up like a pride of joy. And what that means, yes, does that mean you're going to be doing more work than your husband for the relationship? Yes, but you're doing it anyway, right? You're doing more work anyhow. Let's call a spade a spade. This is the way it is. And guess what? We are good at it. And if we get better at it, the what do you call them? Bonuses that we accrue joy and happiness and intimacy and closeness and being treasured and cherished by our husbands. And for those of you who missed a few classes ago, we discussed cherished, and everyone said, I don't want to be cherished, whatever. The cherished whole thing is just examining yourself. Maybe there's a secret little tiny part of yourself that does want to be cherished, that has it buried really, really deep. You have to look for yourself. I'm not going to go into that now. You can go back to the past classes, ladiestalkshow.com, right? Okay. Mm-hmm. So I've got to put all these plugs in where Sarit gets mad at me. Okay. And Marriage Secrets by Leah Richeimer. Okay, fine. Okay, did it, done? Okay, check off. Okay. So if you like, what is it? Oh, I'm supposed to say comment below, something. Yeah, comment.
We'll take care of that.
Likes and do. Okay, yeah.
Just
okay.
Like.
Like. There you go. Thank you. It's appreciated. Anyway, okay. So, but the point that I'm saying, we are superwomen. We were born superwomen. So rather than waiting for them to step up to the mat and, be us, we don't want them to be us. They've got their own things. And here's exactly the homework that I gave this lady from the student of the day. I should maybe have them have names of fake names. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah?
Carol. She sounds like
Carol.
a Carol.
Okay, Carol. Okay, so that's good. Okay, so remind me next week if I forget to give her a name, because it's easier with time. So the issue with Carol, with her mother with the issues and whatever. Now she's with her husband and she wants him to be a girlfriend, or she wants him to connect with her in a way that not only is not capable, but that's why God gave her those talents and her those skills. So here's the homework I gave. I said, right now you're listing off all the things he's not doing. I want you right now standing on one foot. I didn't really make her stand on one foot. Standing on one foot to tell me what you appreciate, what your husband does for you that maybe right now you're taking for granted. She goes, I don't know. He does, he does stuff. I said, no. Freeze, time out, list him off right now. And she said, well, when the kitchen's a mess, he doesn't say a word. like it's a disaster. Like she said, I'm not talking just like a mess. I'm talking about disgusting, like, leftovers from, on the stove and whatever for like a few days and, whatever. Like when his kitchen's like, oh, that's lovely. No, but she said he doesn't say a word. He just wait. He realizes that mentally I got a lot going, a lot flying. I ran here, I did this or whatever. And he just waits patiently until I clean the kitchen. I said, that's pretty awesome. So what else? She said, well, he brings home a paycheck and insurance. Oh, that's good. What else? Hold on. Let me remember what's the last thing she said. Oh, this one was a big one. And I don't know how she got her husband to do this. She said, no matter what temperature she sets the thermostat at, he lets her keep it there. I was like, wait a minute, if you're free, I mean, like, yeah, I want to get her notes for that one. So she could like turn it as hot as she wants and as cold as he wants. And even though, sometimes she said it's she'll forget to turn it down, the heat in the winter or whatever, and then it'll just like be blasting. And then all of a sudden she'll like look and she'll be like, she can hardly breathe. It's so whatever. And her husband hasn't said a word, it's probably sweat dripping down and whatever. So I'm like, these are treasures that her husband is giving to her. She's working on her forgiveness and she's working on her, trying to communicate more and trying to be better. Like when he's done something that's totally annoying, how to present it to him in not a way that doesn't clobber him, right? She's working on that. And meanwhile, he's working on these other things. That's his man. That's the man. The man's doing that. She's doing this. And P.S., by the way, her work on the relationship guaranteed, listen to this, guaranteed to make them closer. Guaranteed. You want closeness? You want more closeness? You want more treasure? You want more gifts? You want more blessing in your home? Work on your relationship. And you're a superwoman. You're a superwoman. You're a superwoman. It was given to you at birth. You were born with this. Use it and be proud of it. And don't sit there. Why isn't he? He's doing these other things. Okay.
And it's funny that we don't think ever of, like, he goes to work, when you said it was such a biggie that he didn't touch the thermostat. But like the fact that he goes to work and has insurance and all that. I know my husband used to tell me how many husbands, when they were talking in their little clubs and chatting, would constantly be complaining, like, why am I always an ATM? I'm basically, for my wife, I'm an ATM. When she needs me, she gets on the phone very quickly. And every time she calls, I know it's like, what do you need? How much are you spending? Which credit card do you want? There's a big part of that we sort of take, I guess, for granted, especially because so many women are working today. We sort of take for granted that if they are working, that's probably a pretty big thing.
Yeah, I mean, but even and I just want to say, because there's some men who aren't working, either they're learning or they're out of work or whatever. There's something that he's contributing that the husband is contributing that you may not see, you may not notice, you may not want to notice, you may be so annoyed that you can't even go there and think about it or whatever. But here's the main thing that you need to understand. Even if the husband is doing absolutely nothing, there is blessing from God himself for you working on peace in the home. And that blessing will come with additional money, additional happiness, and additional joy and additional satisfaction in your life. So I wanted to, dispel. We're starting this early in this project, in the book. We're still in chapter 1 here, chapter 2 actually, I think, in Marriage Secrets. I said it again.
Yeah.
But we're starting in early parts. But I wanted to make it clear. When I first usually start teaching, right? So I'll give a workshop, I used to give these 5-week workshops or whatever. And the first week, I was sitting there like this, and the women were like this, like listening to what I have to say. And they're like, when's the men's class? When's the men's class? Because they didn't realize their own power. Their own power is that we as women are uniquely brilliant at relationships. We can turn the whole ship around, just us, just a few little things, just I thank you. Just thanks for the, bringing home the bread or whatever. Thanks for the thermometer. There's a lot of ways. We're going to get a lot of tools on how to receive more blessing into our homes. But the key is this whole idea of equality, that it should be equal and that we should be full partnerships. See, full partnerships is a fancy way of saying equal, right? And you have to understand, everyone here, probably in this room and in our audience, thinks, Leah, you're joking that you don't believe in equality. You don't believe in equality. Like you don't. It's nothing that anybody here has sat down and really done a thorough. Maybe you have. I don't know. And the people much smarter than me have PhDs in equality, so I don't consider myself an expert in this by any means. But I do know one thing. I do know there's a difference between equality and happiness. Okay, I'm after happiness. Equality, as I've said before, is absolutely mandatory in the workplace. As a nation, we should be embarrassed that women are still making 67 cents or 66.7 cents, whatever it is, 67 cents on the dollar that a man makes. That we should be embarrassed of. The men should be embarrassed. The women should be, the Congress, whatever. Everybody should be embarrassed of that. That's terrible. In the workplace, equality, absolutely mandatory. At home, that is the wrong measure. The measure of success in a marriage is peace in the home. What works? And sometimes that can, you got to build it in very different ways and so forth, and work at it and bite your tongue when you feel like, what? You did that again. I told you 50 times not to do that. Whatever it is, you have to be very, there's a lot of work, but the measure of success in the home is marriage. And this issue of equality that has sort of swept through our nation, swept through our homes, swept in our ear and into our brain and stayed there, is causing a lot of damage in our marriages. Because he didn't do enough, she didn't do enough. Then this whole issue of equality. Please.
I know this class is on marriage, but
can you pass that a little bit, because they won't hear you. That's whatever. It's
so loud.
That's okay. It's okay. So hold it away from you. Okay, so go ahead.
I know this class is on marriage,
right.
But also you see like the mother in the house, like she creates the whole personality of the house, and that's not even like when you're having like you're actually doing something for your kids. It's just your mood has such an effect on the whole family.
What's that thing? If mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. Yeah, it's totally.
All of a sudden, everyone, it's just infectious.
Yeah.
And so I'm just saying, especially in a relationship where you're, like you were saying, like you do all the work, especially if you're changing and you're talking differently and you're doing things, how much more so that's going to contribute to the relationship.
Yeah, it's good. It's 100%. Here's the thing. We are all here. We're sitting here because we are extraordinary women who want to maximize our potential on this planet. We don't want to come and be sitting there hooked up to beep, 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 and be thinking, I wished I shoulda, woulda, coulda. I wished I had fulfilled my potential. I wished I had been a better wife. I wished I had been a better mother. I wished I had been a better friend. I wished I had been a better daughter. Nobody can be perfect. We're not expecting perfection. But everybody, wherever you are, you could be here. You might not be able to be here. Okay, I hear. We all could be, if we're here, we all could be here. And maybe if we're lucky, we could be here or here or here over time. That's what we're here for. And it's extraordinary. And there are many sources that we have, and I have them page 37, 42, whatever they are. I have the sources, and there's 220 sources that talk about the fact the reason we're alive is for shleimus, for perfection, to grow ourselves to be the highest level human being that we can, to contribute the most, and guess what? The side benefit for this? Joy and happiness. That's it. I mean, in other words, like people are running after happiness. No, the happiness is here. The happiness comes from maximizing your potential and the satisfaction that brings, whether that's being closer to God, whether that's being, having closer marriage, having closer family, having better relationships with everybody. That's what it's all about. And a lot of that starts, and this is where we come into Superwoman, a lot of that starts with connecting with other people. Connecting. We're going to be learning a lot about connecting here. And some people have a resistance connecting. This woman Carol had difficulty connecting with people because she couldn't connect with her own mom. Imagine that handicap starting in life. And maybe some of you have had that. that's a handicap in life. And I'm telling you, I'm talking to this woman. Okay, somebody sent her to me, whatever. I'm not a therapist, psychiatrist, so I wasn't like seeing her in a therapy thing. She came to ask questions. I'm talking to her, and she's as good a communicator as you can imagine. And this is a hurdle. This is whatever she started, and she's popped up here. Like it's extraordinary. I mean, I'm sure there's lots of other things she's not great at, but that she's got that down. So in your own life, you want to be thinking of what is your block to getting to that next level. We're going to be going through them so that, step by step. The first thing we're starting with is the Superwoman Phenomenon. You already were born a superwoman. The Superwoman Phenomenon is being able to recognize you are in charge of the relationships in your life. Like you were saying that, you ain't mom ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. That like you could, who you are when you're in the home and people are coming in and gathering and whatever, or they're around the kitchen table, whatever, and you're like, and you really want to be returning your emails. There's 4 emails and 3 texts and 17 WhatsApps that you want to get to. And somebody sent this video and the opening, and it was a Ladies Talkshow video after all, right? You want to get to that, watch the Ladies Talkshow thing, and everybody's around and everything. Can I have some of this? And can I, and whatever you're dealing with in your day-to-day life, and you want to be somewhere else. Remember, you're a superwoman. You're uniquely qualified to connect with the people who are put right in front of you. And that strength, rather than being a burden, like why my husband isn't doing it, he's doing other things. Maybe we'll, in future chapters, we'll get to open our eyes what he's actually doing, what he's providing in the relationship that we didn't even sort of recognize. Like, oh yeah, wow, maybe I am lucky. It took one of my students was saying to me, she kind of didn't get it until she sat for 2 nights with a widower. What's it? Which one? I get them mixed up. What's a wife? A wife who lost a widow. She lost her husband, and so she was traveling, whatever. And then there was this sad shiver and whatever. And then she spent 2 nights with that woman, and she said, "I never knew. I was not awake to the reality of who my husband is in my life." Did you hear that? I didn't want to cry.
Right,
it's the saddest.
Right. It's like you don't know what you're missing until it's gone. Right.
That's it.
Right.
And we're going to be working here day to day. Don't worry. Don't take it as a big, huge, overwhelming thing. We'll get there slow step. We're not going to do this massive clunk. But little by little, when you start to open your eyes to who your husband is in your life, your level of satisfaction improves. It's not like he needs to change at all. It's just like, I am pretty lucky. So the cup half empty, the cup half full, or whatever. It's kind of like that, whatever. But we'll get there.
No, but you said something so profound before, and it's so interesting because being in the class for well, you always do. No, you always do. But I've been in the class for 2 years, and I don't think I ever heard you say it this way. And it was like the first time that where you said your husband could be doing nothing, right? And you will still, by you doing, you will still be seeing all the blessings. Now, what's profound about that is because in general, we're working, and especially at the beginning, we're working on this because we're hoping that through our work, there will be a reciprocal, he will change and he will start working, and our work will cause him to
be the person who he should be.
Right. And then in as much as you could say to us, yeah, blessing, that's sort of in the back of our minds. Like, we'll keep doing our work because eventually, like everything else, he'll learn how to do what he needs to do. But here you're saying he doesn't ever have to learn. He could basically do nothing, but because the blessing is coming through him, you receiving the blessing by working on yourself and working on your marriage will just bring the blessing in. With him doing nothing.
Fantastic.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That was very cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm back for round 2. I found something new.
I have to tell you, that was very deep. And I hope you guys got that.
No, that was
awesome.
Huge.
It's fantastic. Into the moon.
Yeah.
What her husband does, right?
Yeah.
And that he doesn't shout or he doesn't get upset when the dishes are all left there.
And she said it gets pretty gross, she said.
But that was like a positive thing, because she could have said to you, well, she could have been upset at him for not pitching in and helping clean the dishes.
Right.
Here she sees like, wow, he stays quiet and she doesn't even.
That's
think in that head.
fantastic. But I have to say, she said that she doesn't ask that of him because it was. I'm not sure, because there was some dysfunction with her father and their mother, and mother wasn't so mentally there, and then was always this whole tumult about the dinner and the dishes and him, the father, not doing. So there was some history there I didn't quite get.
Quiet, because otherwise she'll tell him to roll up his sleeves.
Yeah.
Exactly. She'll be like, you have an issue. I'm sorry, I just have to give a shout out to our caller from Israel. Sorry, we have a call from Israel, and that's a shout out to Israel.
First of all, thank
All
you
right, so
very
we
much
love
for
you.
joining us. I'm really grateful to have you here, and you should be blessed with everything to 120. And please do us a favor of tell all your friends and start spreading the word. We're going to be meeting here every week at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time in Los Angeles, California, with the Housewives of Hancock Park. So, okay, I'm going to give the homework. Ready? Okay. So first of all, Leah's lesson of the day. Ready? Lesson of the day. We are all superwomen. Woo! She's going to go, woo! You do this out loud. The people on the thing can't hear you say that. Liz, okay, Liz, we're all superwomen, and we're uniquely qualified to manage our relationships. Rather than thinking of this as a burden, think of it as a gift that allows us to maximally get close to our husbands and to our loved ones. This being a superwoman with relationships, right, is a gift. It's a responsibility, but it's also a joy and a gift, and it allows us that. So that's the thing we're going to be celebrating. Okay, here's the homework. One time this week, do one act of work for your marriage that fully acknowledges, while you're doing it, fully acknowledge the unfairness of it. Like, this isn't, why am I all the one? You're cleaning the vegetable bin and there's a squishy cucumber, or a few people use the bathroom, maybe I won't get it. You know what I mean? Like, ugh, and you did it, right? It's not fair. That's what you're thinking in your head. It's not fair. While you're doing it, that's what you're thinking. And then come back and report how it made you feel to do it anyway in the face of that. Okay, I should have given a homework about Superwoman now that I'm thinking about it.
No, this is a good one.
That's a
I
good
like
one?
this one.
Okay. I mean, the reason I wanted to get here is because I wanted people
What if you
to.
have to do it anyway? I don't understand
There are a
You
lot,
don't
tons of
because they know
things.
what's gonna do it?
Right.
Or
No,
how they-
there's a lot of stuff that we do that we feel like it's not fair, that it should be equal, right? Working on a relationship could be an example of it. It could be cleaning something, but it could be working on a relationship. Like, you were upset and you bit your tongue, and then he was upset and he lashed out, right? The point is, I want us to get in touch with the knee-jerk reaction we have, like this, to be upset about it not being fair. You tell your kid, they said, life, that's not fair. Life isn't fair, right? But we ourselves don't buy into that lesson. And I'm saying life isn't fair, and understanding that it's not fair and owning, really, really owning that it's not fair is such a gift. I mean, you're going to see where it's going to lead us.
So you want us to
Why
feel
is
it.
the homework?
Yeah, because she wants us to feel when you're doing something
Look
that
how nice.
you feel like, for example, if your husband does something and you go to apologize, and that's not fair because he should
So it's just
apologize.
gonna make us more upset.
No, she wants you to feel that feeling and see what it.
We'll have a good week then.
She wants you to.
I want you, in other words, you're going to feel it anyhow,
Anyways,
right?
yeah.
Anyway, this is what we're already
Now we
always
pay
doing.
attention.
Now you have to pay attention to it. And when it happens,
Yes.
I promise you one thing.
Yeah.
Your relationship to the unfairness of it all has forever shifted in this class. This week will be different just by understanding, there's that old friend again. It's not fair.
Should we then go justify, but he does this and that? Just go with that. That is
No,
not
just-
That we just want to. We'll see next week. We'll get there next week. This is the
She's like, you're giving me a bad week. I'm gonna work around the whole week.
Just you just do it once. Just go home, you'll do it one time, and then you're done for the week. But the point is, what we're trying to accomplish here is we're trying to have that feeling and recognize it so that we can do something about it. And what we're going to do about it, we'll find out next week. Wink, wink, stay tuned. This is the Ladies Talk Show. This is your host, Leah Richeimer. I'm so grateful to all of you, for everybody for joining us. Please stay tuned and tell your friends next week, 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time on Wednesday mornings. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. It was nice. Thank you. Fantastic.
I love it.